Goeiemôre graad 9 en graad 10's. Voordat ons verder gaan, wil ek net hê ons moet so 'n bietjie ingaan en gaan kyk, wat kan 'n mens gebruik om seker te maak dat jy veilig is wanneer jy die internet gebruik. Jy gaan die internet gebruik vir baie take en baie ander bronne en baie van julle was al reeds blootgestel aan van hierdie nagevolge van die gebruik van internet. So voordat ons verder gaan ons eers kyk na hoe kan ons onsself beskerm wanneer ons op die internet gaan. Die video's wat julle gaan kyk, gaan julle albei groepe saam kyk, want dit is van toepassing op albei groepe. Daarna gaan ons weer terug aan ons 2 geskeide lesse toe. So geniet dit, en ek hoop dat jy iets leer wat jou kan help, nie net wanneer jy navorsing doen nie, maar ook wanneer ook al jy die internet vir enige ander bron van inligting of sosiale media of enige ander vorm van kommunikasie, aanlyn inkopies of internetbankdienste gebruik.
Have you ever Googled your name? What did you find out about yourself? Like many people, you may have been a bit surprised about the information that could be obtained about you through a simple internet search. Information technology has opened up society and decreased privacy. Privacy continues to diminish as technological innovation progresses. Privacy is the right to be left alone and free from surveillance and unreasonable personal intrusions. Information privacy is the right to determine when and to what extent information about oneself can be communicated to others. This applies to individuals, groups, and institutions. Privacy can be interpreted quite broadly, which contributes to the debate concerning privacy expectations and availability of personal information. However, the following 2 rules have been followed fairly closely in past court decisions in many countries. The right of privacy is not absolute and must be balanced against the needs of society, and the public's right to know is superior to the individual's right of privacy. These 2 rules reveal why it is difficult in some cases to determine and enforce privacy regulations. There are a number of privacy issues that are of concern, including electronic surveillance, availability of personal information, cookies and spyware, and workplace monitoring. Detective Brown and Detective Smith are staking out a building located in a bad part of town. Their beat-up van sits inconspicuously along the street, giving nothing away about whom they are or why they are there. The detectives are gathering information through electronic surveillance to take down an organized crime ring that has wreaked havoc on the city and contributed to the rise in crime. Electronic surveillance involves monitoring people with technology often without their knowledge. Video recordings, photography, and audio recordings are common electronic surveillance techniques. Detectives Brown and Smith photograph everyone going in and out of the suspect building. They will use the photographs to identify the key players in the crime ring. They have also planted cameras and audio devices within the building to capture conversations and keep a real-time watch on the movements within the building. All of this information is recorded from the van and saved to build a strong case. You don't have to be a criminal to come in contact with electronic surveillance. We are all likely to encounter various forms of electronic surveillance throughout the day. Some communities use video surveillance to catch those who violate traffic laws. You may receive a ticket in the mail for running a red light or failing to pay a toll. When you go to the bank, withdraw money from the ATM, or enter your local convenience store, you're probably being recorded on video. Your apartment building or workplace may be equipped with video surveillance to discourage crime and assist in resolving crimes if they do occur. The house next door to you has just been sold. Your new neighbor moves in. He is a middle-aged man who keeps to himself and does not appear to be very friendly. He keeps odd hours and comes across as very strange. Your attempts to welcome him to the neighborhood have failed since he never answers the door. You wonder about him and find your mind getting carried away with all the possibilities. You wish you had more information to go on. You probably wouldn't go to the trouble of scouring City Hall documents, rooting through his trash, or tracking down friends and relatives to interview. However, if you could spend a few minutes searching the World Wide Web for information, there is a much greater chance you would snoop around, wouldn't you? With information technology, it is relatively simple to find personal information on anyone you wish, including your new neighbor. A variety of information on individuals is kept in databases. These databases house information such as social security numbers, credit card numbers, medical histories, family histories, and more. Practically every organization has a database full of information on everyone they do business with. The concern with this is whether or not they should be collecting this information, what they will do with it, how secure it is, how accurate it is, and who it can be sold to. Personal data is increasingly made available in online databases, which can be accessed by search engines. You decide to jump on the internet and conduct a web search to learn more about your neighbor. You discover his age, his birth date, his previous addresses, employment, and much more. You learn that he moved from another state after his wife passed away due to an automobile accident. He took a new job in the area as a commercial pilot, which is why he never seems to be home and keeps odd hours. You also discovered how much he paid for his house, and that he ran a 5K race in 27 minutes and 33 seconds last year. Now you feel better about your new neighbor and decide maybe he isn't so weird after all. The question that concerns some is, should personal information, like we discussed, be so readily available to the public? The availability of personal information shows no signs of slowing. In fact, courts and government agencies at all levels are increasingly making public records available online. Some find it troubling giving the sensitive information contained in the available documents. For instance, someone filing for bankruptcy must disclose their social security number, their bank and credit card numbers, account balances, and even children's names and ages. One of the fastest growing crimes has been identity theft. Identity theft is the stealing of another person's social security number, credit card number, or other personal information for the purpose of borrowing money, making purchases, and running up debts. In some cases, thieves even withdraw cash directly from the victim's bank account. Since many private organizations and governments keep information about individuals in accessible databases, there is an endless opportunity for thieves to retrieve it and misuse the information. Amy jumps on the internet from her home computer and goes to Amazon.com. She is automatically recognized by the website. In fact, it says, "Hello, Amy," in the upper right-hand corner of the web page. On the top left side of the screen, she can click on Amy's Amazon.com and it takes her to her own personalized page of recommended products based on past purchases and searches. How does Amazon.com know so much about Amy? Websites can easily monitor consumer behavior without knowledge or consent. Vendors can track the movements of consumers with the use of cookies. Cookies are small data files that are written and stored on the user's hard drive by a website when that user visits the site with a browser. The cookie provides information within the website on pages visited, items examined, dates of visits, and even passwords. This information is stored in the cookie and sent back to the company. An even more intrusive technology is spyware. Spyware is a small computer program stored on the user's hard drive that collects users' habits and transmits that information to a third party, all without the user's consent. Spyware can monitor any website visited by the user, whereas cookies are specific to a particular website. Spyware can be installed when a user downloads software, especially freeware or shareware. A very common way to fall victim to spyware is by downloading peer-to-peer file swapping products. Spyware also steals from the user by using up computer memory and consuming bandwidth. Since spyware uses memory and system resources, it can cause crashes and instability with your computer system. The reason that companies wish to gather so much consumer information is for targeted marketing and advertising. It is much more effective to send a user an advertisement specific to their likes rather than just a general advertisement. Companies value detailed information because they believe it enhances their capability to predict consumer preferences and behavior. Becky's boss Dave summoned her to his office. He wanted to discuss her attitude and use of technology in the office. You see, the day before, Dave was in a bad mood due to a fast approaching deadline. He was a bit harsh with Becky when she didn't have the paperwork he needed completed on time. He verbally reprimanded her and asked that she complete it immediately. Later in the day, once things had slowed down, Becky composed an email to her coworker Debbie. Her email was mainly to vent about Dave. After she finished writing the email and reviewed it, she thought it was best just to delete it and not actually send it to Debbie. Today, that email came back to haunt Becky. The IT department was able to retrieve the email through a special computer program they have installed on the network. It records keystrokes. Becky's boss had her deleted email in his hand. Technology has facilitated greater control over employees. Workplace monitoring is a growing trend. Many employers believe that monitoring is necessary to prevent loss of trade secrets, abuses of their computer networks, and inefficiency and loss of productivity through wasted time. On the other hand, many employees believe it's an invasion of privacy and a lack of trust. The lack of trust can decrease employee morale. Employees' email, voicemail, and web surfing habits may be monitored. There's a category of tools called Employee Internet Management, or EIM software, and that filters and monitors employees' internet usage. Many Fortune 500 companies have adopted some form of EIM software. What some find disturbing is the expanding scope of workplace monitoring. Various software programs can be installed that will record every keystroke made by an employee. If an employee like Becky types up an angry email but decides to delete it before sending, every keystroke is still recorded. Some products at the disposal of employers will monitor all network activities and single out transactions or requests that appear out of order. Some employee monitoring programs that may be used by businesses are WorkTime by Nestersoft Inc., ActiveTrack, Refog, Employee Monitoring, and WebWatcher, among many others. When we discuss privacy on the Internet, we are referring to information privacy. Information privacy is the right to determine when and to what extent information about oneself can be communicated to others. Information technology has created a more open society where privacy grows scarcer with the development of each new technological innovation. The Internet has made it possible to easily collect, exchange, and recombine personal information with ease. Spyware and cookies have enabled organizations to keep tabs on consumers and monitor their activities and habits on the Internet for business purposes. Recall that cookies are small data files that are written and stored on the user's hard drive by a website when that user visits the site with a browser. Spyware is a small computer program stored on the user's hard drive that collects users' habits and transmits the information to a third party, all without the user's consent. With more sophisticated surveillance equipment, people can be monitored with or without their knowledge by law enforcement or even their employer. Electronic surveillance involves monitoring people with technology, often without their knowledge. Employees' email, voicemail, and web surfing habits may be monitored. There's a category of tools called Employee Internet Management, or EIM software, that filters and monitors employees' internet usage.
The Internet provides a wealth of information and services. Many activities in our daily lives now rely on the Internet, including various forms of communication, shopping, financial services, entertainment, and many others. The growth in the use of the Internet, however, also presents certain risks. Just think about all the information you send over the Internet, such as personal messages, bank account information, photographs, etc. As a typical Internet user, you have the reasonable expectation that your communications and transactions are private and secure. When you make a video call to a family member, you expect that nobody else is watching. When you buy something online with a credit card, you expect that nobody else can get access to your credit card details. For the most part, the Internet is indeed private and secure. But there are a number of serious security risks. This lesson will review some of those security risks and provide some practical suggestions on how to address them. One of the most serious threats consists of viruses and other harmful programs. A computer virus is a computer program that replicates itself into other computer programs and can cause damage to a computer's software, hardware, or data. Once a virus is present on a computer, it typically performs some type of harmful action, such as corrupting data or obtaining sensitive information. Computer viruses are only one type of malware, short for malicious software. Malware is used by attackers to disrupt computer programs. The best way to deal with the threat of a computer virus is to use antivirus software. Antivirus software helps to protect a computer system from viruses and other harmful programs. One of the most common ways to get a virus on your computer is to download a file from the Internet that is infected. Antivirus software scans your online activity to make sure you are not downloading infected files. Antivirus software also helps to detect and remove viruses from your computer system if you do not get infected. Spyware is a program installed on your computer that sends information about you and how you use your computer to a third party. Typically, without you being aware this is happening, spyware often enters your system when you install some type of free software from an untrusted source. Installation of the program you were interested in also installs the spyware. Since you authorized the installation, conventional protection methods such as antivirus software do not prevent spyware from getting installed in this manner. Once the spyware program is installed, it starts collecting information. Some spyware programs are relatively harmless and collect very generic information that does not personally identify you. Other spyware programs may record your actual keystrokes, including any passwords, and may search through any of your files, looking for something that looks like a credit card number. These types of spyware programs can definitely be harmful. Once spyware has collected its information, it sends this to whoever created the program. Again, this happens without you noticing it. Removing the spyware can be difficult. Often, the program installs itself again as quickly as you can delete it. To counter spyware, you need to use a dedicated spyware management tool. Some antivirus software is bundled with spyware management tools, but they are separate functions. Phishing is an email scam that is disguised as an official communication from a legitimate website. The message tricks people into providing sensitive information, such as their login details. A typical scam consists of a message that describes some issue with your account and requires you to log into your account to confirm something. The message looks very official, using logos and formal language, just like you would expect from a legitimate source. The message also presents some sense of urgency to get you worried. When you follow the link, the web page looks very real, but if you look closely, the internet address is actually not the official one. Financial institutions don't send out these types of messages. Don't follow the link. If you are seriously concerned, go to the institution's official website and log into your account the way you normally would. Never log into your account from a link sent to you in an email. Spam consists of electronic junk mail. These are unwanted solicitations sent out to hundreds of thousands of internet users, typically to buy something, to make a phony investment, or to sign up for some type of online service. Spammers collect email addresses using automated spiders that crawl across web pages. Spiders also look through newsgroups and discussion forums. Spammers may also use a technique known as a directory harvest attack, which sends a message to millions of automatically generated email addresses. The ones that don't bounce back are considered real and are then used for spamming. Spamming has become part of the internet, just as junk mail has become part of the postal system. Anti-spam software has been developed to filter out the spam before it gets to your inbox. Anti-spam software uses a number of different strategies. Blacklists are developed from email addresses and internet domains that are known to be spammers. Emails from these sources are automatically filtered out. Content filtering consists of examining the subject and text of an email message to identify terms and phrases typically associated with spam. Sophisticated filters determine the probability of a message being spam, and you can tweak the filter to be more or less aggressive during filtering. Most email systems redirect spam into a special spam or junk mail folder. When you have a junk mail folder, you may want to check that everything in the folder is indeed spam. If you come across a particular email that should not have ended up in the spam folder, you can flag that particular email so that future messages from that sender are not considered spam. One of the most common ways for viruses, spyware, and other harmful programs to spread is through email attachments. You may use email attachments regularly to send a file to a colleague or friend. It's one of the easiest ways to share files with one or more individuals without posting it on a website for the whole world to see. Because many computer users have become so comfortable with using email attachments, it has also become a major security threat. Those looking to spread harmful programs or get access to private information send out emails with an attachment to unsuspecting users. When you open the attachment, a program gets installed on your computer, and you may not even notice that anything has happened. As a general rule, you should never open up any attachments you were not expecting. Sometimes, the email may look like it comes from someone you know, but it may in fact have been sent by a virus on someone else's computer. You also want to be really careful with attachments you don't recognize. It is one thing for one of your colleagues to send you a report called quarterlystales.doc, but a file called install.exe is very suspicious, since you can't verify its content before opening it. Email systems have gotten increasingly sophisticated at filtering out suspicious email attachments. However, you should scan any attachments for viruses before downloading, and not open any attachments whose content you can't confirm. Simply browsing the internet presents its own security issues. Certain web pages automatically launch a file download, and these files may contain harmful programs. Most web browser software includes tools to check for suspicious files and will automatically block certain content. However, this requires that you have your browser's security features turned on. You should only turn these features off temporarily when downloading content from a trusted source. When browsing the internet, you also want to consider your privacy. Many websites add small text files to your computer, called cookies. These cookies make it easier to use certain websites. For example, your browser may store the login information for frequently used accounts. This information is stored in a cookie. Cookies are also used to track your browsing history. Cookies present a security risk, since anybody with access to your computer, even remotely, can obtain the information contained in them. To prevent this information from being stored, you can change your browser settings to private browsing. Browser software also includes tools to manage your cookies. Using the internet presents a number of security issues. Being aware of these will make your internet use safer and more enjoyable. Some of the most serious threats include computer viruses, spyware, and other harmful programs. You should use antivirus spyware management software to protect your computer system. A widely used technique to obtain confidential information is the use of phishing scams. These trick users into providing account details using official-looking email messages and websites. Spam consists of electronic junk mail. This presents an annoyance, but is typically not a security concern. A more serious concern are email attachments, which are widely used to distribute harmful programs. Internet browser software contains security features to prevent downloads of harmful programs and to manage your privacy while browsing.